Welcome all you guys to join this information day for the taught postgraduate program schemes. And I am the deputy program leader for this Master of Science in Medical Imaging and Radiation Sciences, so-called MSc in MIRS scheme. And my name is LT Lin, and thank you all for spending this afternoon with me. Okay, so we will start our brief introductions about these programs for the some of the essential criteria for the admissions. Also, we will introduce you about some of the criteria for the selection as well as the graduation. Also, we will mention slightly about the, for example, tuition fees and other essential information for your references. Right, so because this is an online session, so in case of any question, please use the chat box to interact with me. Just type in the chat box and I will keep my eyes on it and monitoring that all the time throughout the presentation and trying to answer all your inquiries accordingly. Okay, so we are starting from here. So first of all, thank you for the time here with me. And this is my outline today for my introductions about this program. We will start with the title of these programs, as you may already see in the title page. And then we will quickly go through the aim or the intended learning outcomes from this program. Also, for some particular selections criteria will be carried out for the entrance requirement. Followed by, we will talk about the graduation and award requirements when you fulfill all the credits as well as the degree requirements to get the final degrees and how the degrees are awarded. Lastly, we will share with you some of the previous facts for the admission exercises, including the previous few years. And we also get the chance from the universities that we are providing the scholarship scheme. And I will also disclose a little bit about it. At the last, we will talk about some details about the application periods and the selection criteria for the admission exercises. At the end, we will have a session for your Q&A, so please feel free to let me know whenever you have any question. So number one, this is our program titles in full length, which is the Master of Science in the Medical Imaging and Radiation Sciences. In an acronym, it is MSc in MIRS. From the terms, you probably can recognize that our programs are focusing and providing an advanced and cutting-edge knowledge about medical imaging as well as the radiation sciences. To be more specific, most of our emphasis will be put on the medical imaging part. In case you have a further potential or you have further incentive to approach a higher educations upon some particular specialisms, or because of your working experience, you have a special preference on a specific field of interest. You can also opt to a specific scheme we call it specialism. So after you fulfill all the criteria of that specialisms, then you will be awarded with a degree with annotations for that. For example, you will be awarded as an MSc in Medical Imaging and Radiation Sciences, bracket, computed tomography, magnetic resonance imaging, MRI, or ultrasonography. If you don't choose the specialism for your graduation award, then you can also be awarded with a general MSc in MIRS degree. We also provide our department, the Health Technology and Informatics, also provide another top postgraduate program, aka the MSc in Medical Physics. And that is an independent degree from us, and that will be carried out by my colleagues later. So here are the general aims of these programs, or you can call it an overall intended learning outcome, which we intended to provide a more advanced knowledge and skill, in particular medical imaging, for example, advanced technology and clinical applications for CT, MRI, ultrasound. And furthermore, we have nuclear medicine starting from a couple of years ago. Also, we encourage all our students to provide their professional development for engaging to more updated and advanced knowledge and technologies nowadays. We also intended to incubate more sense of evidence-based practices to all our students. So by attending our programs, not only the lectures were provided, we will have more intensive engagements for most of our students to expose themselves to a research-oriented environment. At the last, I believe most of you may have a strong interest on this program based on personal developments, no matter it's for your promotion or the advancements of the knowledge, or for example, self-satisfaction. So overall, I think this is our aims of the programs, to provide you a perfect platform for you to develop yourself better. So when we look into the basic entrance requirement, of course, we gotta at least pass through the university's requirement. So some of them are essential and compulsory. For example, you must have a BSc degree or equivalent degree from other recognized institute. We personally encourage our applicants to have relevant degrees in the field of radiography, because we do not provide any basic knowledges regarding the radiation sciences. So once you are enrolled into our department or this program, most of the subjects will be in an advanced format, which means that we will assume all our students are well equipped with sufficient knowledge and understanding about the radiation science. So when we are having the admission exercises, we will select the students with equivalent or similar discipline and background from this field of interest. One thing I have to emphasize is that we are different from some of the other medical professionalisms degrees, that if you are not certificated or you are not qualified as a practical radiographer here in Hong Kong with a sufficient degree, only the master degree in MIRS is not a professional qualification, which means if you don't have that BSc in radiography from PolyU or from the recognized institute, with MSc MRS is not eligible to practice radiography here in Hong Kong, just for your information. So once you are enrolled as one of our students, I will go through a general requirements for the graduation in a brief way. Number one, if you intended to graduate from our programs with a general degree, aka the MSc and MRS, the requirement of the credits are 30. So which means you have to gain 30 credits through many subjects. Among all the subjects, the curriculums request you to have 2 compulsory subjects, which accounts for six credits. Also, there are 3 core subjects. I will share with you who are those subjects in the coming slides. Following that, you will also need to provide another 15 additional credits to fulfill the 30 credit requirements for the graduation. Among that 15, you can select 2 elective subjects, but you can only opt to 1 non-HDI subjects. So within our department, HDI, we have 3 different master degree programs. So each of the programs do provide a lot of different types of subjects for you to freely choose. And some of them are open for the elective registration. And once you get it, you can only have 1 not from our department, okay? The other 9 credits could be a dissertation or you can select 3 any other HTI subjects to fulfill the 30 credits. At the end, the overall GPA must be higher than 2.0 for you to end up the programs with a awarded degree. If you want to specialize in a particular imaging modality, then you can opt to complete your programs by computed tomography, magnetic resonance imaging, or ultrasonography by choosing the clinical practicum. Okay, so the curriculum will be slightly different from the previous one, but the fundamental requirements are similar. Number one, the 2 compulsory subjects are still the same. Those 6 credits are something inevitable, but the core subjects will be slightly changed. Number one, if you chose to graduate with a specialism, then you will have to register the dissertation. Okay, so you have to write a thesis accordingly. Also, there is a clinical practicums required. So you have to participate in this clinical practicum to provide some professional practice and some innovative findings or even evidence-based research just a little bit with that specialism. Okay. Meanwhile, you will have to, the core subjects will include the specialty subjects. So for CT, MRI, and ultrasound, we all have a subject named by this modality, which means you will have to select that particular subject. Apart from these 21 credits, you will have to have the other 9 credits to fulfill the 30 credits. So you will need to register another 3 subjects, which could be elective, or it can also be other subjects provided by our programs, or a maximum 1 subject that is not within our department. Okay, so these are a general requirement for the graduation. So here are the subjects offering from our department, and I have some color mapping here. So through the previous 2 slides, we have mentioned that there are 6 credits of compulsory subjects, which is on the top of the list, multiplanar anatomy and research methods and biostatistics. So for these 2 subjects, it is needed. And then within the green colored subjects, those are the core subjects. So if you are not selecting the specialism from those core subjects, you can select to fulfill your 30 credits. However, if you are choosing a specialism in ultrasound, CT, or MRI, then you can see the asterisk, which means you will have to select them in order to get through it with the specialism. And we have a brown color here indicating the specialism core subjects, which is the clinical practicum. Apart from them, our department also provides some elective subjects, which are from the other master degree programs, including the medical laboratory sciences and the medical physics. Among all of the blue colored subjects, you can also opt to register those subjects in order to fulfill the 30 credits. If all of our subjects cannot get your interest enough, you can also opt to some other non-HGI subjects as an elective for fulfilling the 30 credits. One of them are from our faculty, and one of them are from our School of Nursing, and the other is from the biomedical engineering. Okay, so these are for your information that within this curriculum, here are almost all the subjects you can select it from to fulfill the 30 credits. Most of them are 3 credit courses, which means you just select 10 out of them, then you will be reach the graduation criteria. So I'll quickly go through the previous practice among our admission exercises. So starting from 2021 to 21-22 last year, we are having an increase of the admission rate. But you may notice something interesting is that the intake quota doesn't change among the years. We usually fluctuate up and downs, but we always intake the intake quota are always set to be around 40. And among the years, we only have a decrease of the admission amounts in the last exercise. We only have 116 applicants last year. So making our admission rates raised up to 35.3%. But starting from this year, I don't know, to be honest, we don't know the true reason why we have less applicants last year, and potentially it could be affected by the pandemic in somehow. But we cannot predict what's going to happen in the next exercise. So in case you have any interest, we will encourage you to act as soon as possible. Why as soon as possible? Despite the admission results will be announced at the end of the application deadlines, we also provide nice seats for the scholarship, or we can call it the full name, the Targeted Postgraduate Programs Fellowship Scheme, which is provided by UGC that allow us to attract more applicants to join these sessions, and the governments would like to incubate more higher educated and clinical practitioners for a better healthcare system. Okay, so with these 9 more seats, we will have to decide who these 9 seats are allocated to. And this will be in a rolling policy. And among the selection period of times, we will also host some of the interviews for these scholarship. So if your application was too late, or we cannot have your application profile as soon as possible, then you may not have the chance to get into the interview panel. Okay, so this is why we keep encouraging our applicants to act as fast as possible. Okay, so for the 9 seats of the fellowship scheme, that is for local applicants only. So, and you have to declare that you are not receiving any other government fellowship. There is a cap of that, and the amount will be 120,000 Hong Kong dollars. And this is typically for the tuition fee compensation. Okay. In case you want to have more further information or detail, please scan the QR codes on the right so that you can have more information about the fellowship scheme. Okay. So the application period and selection criteria will be introduced here. That the applications has already been opened. That will be starting from today until the 30th of April this year, 2022. And as I just mentioned, our departments may consider applicants on a rolling basis until the fellowship places are filled. So please act as soon as possible so that we can have a more smoother process on the selections of our fellowship winners. And when we are selecting our applicants, not just for the fellowship, but all the admission exercises, we will look into several important criteria and points. For example, if you have reached the university general entrance requirements, this is definitely one of the most important one, because you gotta have the BSc degree, and to be more specific, you will need a BSc degree in the relevant background, aka the radiography. Meanwhile, we will also look into, if you are non-local students, we will also look into the English proficiency test requirement that is per the university's required. Later on, we will also consider several criteria, including the graduation with the award classification, where you graduate with a first class honor, second up or second lower class honor, etc. we always ask for the referral letters or the supporting letters from your employer. See if your institute really supports your study in our program. Also, within all the applications formats, we will ask for a personal statement to tell us why and how demand you would like to join our program. And then, of course, we will consider your clinical experience. As I mentioned, that most of our subjects are delivered in a certain basis. So we will not go into go back for the basic anymore. We will focus on the advanced knowledge. So we will expect most of our students are having sufficient knowledge on radiography, at least. Lastly, we will quickly assess if you are able to complete the course, and if it is a fellowship, then you must perform extraordinary among all the criteria. Okay, so this is our basic application period and selection criteria. Here we provide you for a general consideration. Here are other trivia about the admission and the later exercise on your side. Number one is the tuition fee. The tuition fee is managed in a yearly basis. So every year we will have reviews on the tuition fee. And this year, the tuition fee is decided to be 5,000 Hong Kong dollars per credit for local students, and 5,400 Hong Kong dollars per credit for non-local students. And we welcome any of the students. We are not limited, although there is a slight difference between the tuition fees, but we still encourage the student from non-local to join our family. Okay, and the subject quota is really competitive, is something I gotta emphasize almost every year, because although we are recruiting like 40 students every year, but because of the schedule and most of the students are part-time, so it doesn't mean that we only have 40 students every year. So if you see here like 40, 50 seats per subject, looks like it's sufficient for all of our students to get enrolled into each of the subjects, but the truth is not. So the seats are quite competitive, and usually you have to act actively, or you have to be, how to say it, you have to be very careful when you are registering the subjects. So one of the, I can say, recommendations or suggestion is that for some students, if you really have a special interest in a specialty, then I would suggest you to select the specialism, not only because your degrees will be more specific for that particular modality, but you will be much easier to finalize your 30 credits. Because if you are in a specialism, the dissertation takes 9 credits, and the clinical practicum takes another 3. And for the specific subjects, your subject leaders may open for these or having a special preference for the students with specialism. So that would be one way out for this competition for subject registration. Okay, and the MSc and MIRS qualification is recognized as an admission for membership of HKCRT. So if you are working practically here in Hong Kong or the Hong Kong hospitals, and you are joining the Hong Kong College of Radiographer and Radiation Therapists, or aka HKCRT, and you would like to participate in several events hosted by these organizations, and then you can also consider our programs once you graduated from us, and then you can use this for the membership. Okay, so I'm seeing a question from the ground is asking, I'm a local applicant and was graduated in the UK with a degree of BSc in radiation RT and oncology, and fail my, okay. Okay, so I think this is a master degree. We don't really look into the DSE score. So I think it's all fine. And as I just mentioned, a couple of the consideration would be your degree, how to say it, your graduation with a work classification. So no matter which institutes you graduated, we will just look into the degree honored. Also, you've mentioned that you are graduate from UK, and it doesn't matter if you really have to graduate from PolyU, it doesn't really matter. But we will simply look into if the degree is related to the radiotherapy. Sorry, radiography, not limited to radiotherapy, but medical imaging. Any disciplines are welcomed. So we will look into the detail, and then as long as you are local applicants and with sufficient supplement data, then we will also consider you as a general applicant. So no worry about that. Okay, so that will be most of the information that I would like to share with you. And at last, if you still have some question in mind, or you haven't thought of any particular question to ask at this moment, please feel free to contact our general office for more detail. This is our office hour, starting from 9 to 5:45, Monday to Friday. Because the campus is now limited for access per the pandemic issue. So please make use of the emails or the telephone to contact with us. Here are our contact person or contact window, Ms. Fion Leung and Ms. Claudia Liu. Okay, and if, in case you want to have a general application information, you can also scan these 2 QR codes that will bring you to a specific website, which one is the e-prospectus, that is the university admission gateway. And on the right is the program leaflet. I don't know if you have seen our leaflet somewhere in the hospital, but you can, if you haven't, then you can try scan this QR code that will bring you to the program leaflet. And that will include most of our information provided today. Okay, so these are most of my presentation today, and I hope I can see you soon in the coming September. Okay, because it's 2022 already.